And now it's time for another Booze and News clip. So they're fast-tracking the litigation against Tesla. Elon Musk offers clues about how its broader case to block him from reneging on his $44 billion contract to buy the social media company. In a decision mostly aligned with Twitter's request for a 4-day September trial, the Delaware Chancery Court of Chancellor Kathleen McCormick ordered the parties to identify 5 trial days in October. The judge's ruling, a more extensive departure from Musk's request for a date no sooner than February, came within minutes of arguments offered by Musk and Twitter's lawyers. So, what do you guys think? I mean, it appears to me, from what I've read about that court, the Delaware Chancery Court, and I sent y'all like a thing I was watching the other day. They move really quickly because they handle high-profile shit all the time. And it looks like, they're gearing to fuck him up. Like, he basically owes them $1 billion at least. Which, who knows if he even fucking has that.
I'd say congrats on 100 episodes. So I wanted to say that. And thanks for having me on.
Thanks, John.
And also, I love Elon bashing, but... so I did want to say the reason why this is in the Delaware court is most people don't realize this is almost all companies are registered in the state of Delaware. And at least any tech company is a corporation in the state of Delaware.
Because of tax purposes,
they're
right?
basically taking them to...
Right.
Yeah.
And they do it because of tax purposes, right?
Corporate court.
Yeah. There's a reason why they choose Delaware. I can't remember why, but I think it's
because that's why they're incorporated in Delaware.
Sure, but
both Twitter and Tesla.
Right, but the reason why they choose to be incorporated there has something to do with like a lower tax penalty or something.
It's something to do with their government is super efficient because it was set up to do this, and then it's like just no one else could compete. So it's one of those things. If you even want like VC or angel investment in this country, you have to have usually a corporation through Delaware.
Okay.
So they just took it to the court that they're both incorporated in the state they're both incorporated in, and that it's probably the best to handle it.
Are you like tapping on the desk?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds like crazy. What do you think, Coleman? It's moving pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah, you would think that Elon Musk could like buy Delaware or buy Rhode Island or something.
With what?
It seems like a very small township to me. Maybe there's more involved that I don't know about. Probably.
Dude, Delaware. What do you mean? All right. So first off, let's just talk about his money woes in general. So today,
he doesn't really have that much liquidity in his life. He has a lot of market value and leverage.
He got more today. Tesla sold off 75% of their Bitcoin today.
But that's Tesla.
Right. Well, I mean, a lot of it, I'm sure it was him, too.
Well, no, because that's Tesla. He can't...
What do you mean?
It's not his bank account or something.
Sure, but doesn't he... When it says Tesla sells off Bitcoin, none of that is his Bitcoin?
None at all. Yeah, no. That's Tesla as a corporate entity.
Okay, but that doesn't affect his pocketbook whatsoever?
Well, no. Actually, it's probably going to be bad because they just announced that they lost revenue and stuff this last quarter.
Oh, so, yeah. And they're shutting down certain fucking factories and shit in Texas already. I don't even know if they were fucking
It's all
up and
playing out. I mean, this is what we've been talking about. It's the issue is when the bubble's going up, everything looks good. You can only point to a graph that's going up because, of course, one side of that bubble graph is always going to be the one that continually goes up.
Right.
The issue is the other side that continually goes down. And so we're just now getting to that, and they're finally seeing it. And he doesn't have really that much liquidity. The stock he did sell, and a lot of stuff he did sell, has been towards taxes and stuff. And I would guess he maybe has like that last $8.5 billion he had in liquidity. But who knows what other debts and leverage he has going on? Because he has like how many companies and
oh yeah. And
crazy amounts of stuff going on.
He's got a bunch of companies that nobody knows about, kids nobody knows about, mistresses.
Do you have that thing that Trump posted? He said it the best. I love it when these dudes tear themselves apart. They say it to each other the best.
When he called him a bullshit artist?
Yeah, and he was like, "You're making rockets that go to nowhere."
Oh, dude,
or
that
whatever.
I will.
Like,
Yeah, I'll pull that up.
tunnels that nothing can fit in or no one can use. Just like,
Yeah, that was on True Social, right? I'll pull that up. That shit was so funny.
I mean, they all see it. All these guys have been grifting for at least 13 years now. Some of them for longer.
Fuck. I gotta see if I can find it. But anyway, yeah. There was a part where he was like, when he came to me and asked me for fucking money, he would have done anything. He would have gotten his
He would have
knees.
got down and begged. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny as fuck. Well, because it's like, game recognizes game, right? Like, they know they're all fucking lying, grifting pieces of shit.
But even in this, Twitter has never really turned a profit.
Well, yeah,
it's not just going to be one. They're all starting to.
What you say that they do make Twitter, unlike some of the other ones, has I think made profit. It's not that much though. I looked at what
they
they're
made like 1 year, I think 2017 or something like that. They did, but it's mostly revenue and then into stock buybacks and stuff. I think if they scaled down and stuff, they would be, but they're still part of this. You know. They were never as big as what it seems they are in market value and how this all played out.
But isn't it such obvious market tampering? Like, what do you think, Coleman? Like, I mean, he overvalued them and was like, "Oh, I'll just buy it." You know what I mean? I'm fucking richest man in the world.
That reminds me that he also has been benefiting from something created by an almost totally anonymous source. Like, when you think about it, the two. Okay. Two large things affecting our country are Bitcoin and QAnon.
Yeah.
Two things created by nobodies, like
cults.
Totally anonymous people. No, but like the actual creators are totally anonymous. Like Satoshi Nakamoto's never been found. It was probably made up. And then QAnon doesn't.
Well, yeah. Hal Finney made Bitcoin.
Yeah, and it's weird. It's kind of fitting. That given our history, we end up in a place where the two things affecting our lives are you have no idea where they came from, and
but we've also talked about this a lot of that. I think we go into this with our government. I've talked to this about the depression coming. None of it's because of any of these people. It's all a wave happening that's caused by tons of debt and liquidity that shouldn't be there, and it's all because the interest rates bottomed out, and a psychological thing happens when interest rates get really low.
Yeah, nobody
People
saves.
start to think savings doesn't make any sense.
That's right.
So what they do is they put everything on the casino table, and they don't even just put everything on the casino table. They leverage everything and put that leverage on the casino table.
And they
just jack up asset prices,
and
everything.
And it gets so out of hand. So like it's like I was watching Married with Children the other day. And there's an episode where like they have like a account that they open for their son Bud, and he goes in to put like $1 into his son's fucking college account. And he's like, I'm doubling his fucking college account today from when I started this 10 years ago, 20 years ago, right? And he looks and he goes, oh shit, there's $60,000 in here. And he goes, the bank fucked up. And he takes the money and what does he do? He buys shit with it. He's like, it's free money. And I just remember I was like, dude, that's what everybody does. It's like you give everybody all this free fucking credit. They're not going to pay for it. They go, I'm going to go buy a jet ski and a fucking side-by-side and a fucking new car and whatever. And they just buy all this shit on it. Because why save money, blow it, and then, fuck it, give me the credit with low interest. I'll spend all that shit too.
If you give them the loans, if you give them all the debt, they'll take it. They're not going to say no. Just like the government isn't saying no. It's just a fluke of interest rates and extremely low taxes. And everyone wants to blame everyone, but they're all riding it. With Elon, we've been pointing this out. He's a giant grifter, but the money should have never been there for him to grift to have in the first place. He didn't just come up with all this. He got tons of money given to him.
Oh, from the government for subsidies.
Yeah. He was created.
Well, and that was what was so funny about that Trump fucking truth or whatever the fuck you call it, because that's what he said. He was like, you would be shit without subsidies.
Oh yeah, because none of his companies make profit. The only profit that any of his companies make is specifically Tesla, and it's from government tax credits. It's like saying, oh, that welfare that person on welfare sure makes a lot.
Right. Yeah.
I think well, what I was talking about earlier is kind of describing a symptom of what John is talking about, like this increasingly absurd way that people invest their money and kind of the breakdown of regulatory agencies and just
That's a lot of it.
as things get more absurd, you end up at a point where you look at somebody to blame, and it's like, an anonymous government agency that doesn't exist or something like that. You know, it's like, oh well, this is created by QAnon. This is created by Satoshi Nakamoto, and it's like,
Well,
where did it come from?
We talk about this, and we find out there's two perspectives. You can either think the one perspective, there's geniuses pulling the strings, and we're all at their whim, or everyone's just an idiot, and they got a bunch of privilege they should have never been given, and they got a bunch of money they should have never been given, and this is what happens when those things play out. It's no one pulling strings or anything. These people are idiots. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're consumed by like a this ideal where like they only have to do what they want. They only have to like increase profits, and they kind of laugh at traditional morality and considering other people, and I think this is like that magnified. They have got more.
All of it is and a lot of it's just because the amount of liquidity there's just. We've talked about this. This was the Roaring 20s. This is another Gilded Age.
This is the death of the Gilded Age, yeah.
Low interest, tons of debt, tons of free money around, and people aren't worried about paying it back because here's the thing. When interest rates get really low, let's say you want to borrow $1 billion or get a $1 billion loan. In your head, you go, of course I want to pay the principal back. I'm only worried about the interest. Oh, look how low the interest rate is. It's almost like a free $1 billion. They take the $1 billion, they blow it, and then they can't even pay the $1 billion back, much less anything interest rates or anything. So where does that go? It goes into frivolous investments. It goes into rockets to nowhere or whatever. And
fucking
everything.
Yeah, and what you were talking about earlier was Hanlon's razor, right? Which he was one of the ones you told me. Like,
yes.
Just the fucking we act like they're evil geniuses, but in reality, it's just stupidity.
Yeah, they're there because their dad or their grandpa put them there or something like that, and they skipped every step on the way up. But they're very confident in themselves, and so they're not going to act like they're not. They're just going to.
Oh yeah, just a bunch of nepotism and bullshit.
Yeah, it's like cake eaters. Let them eat cake. You know what I mean? They don't even have the perspective to realize.
Thanks for watching. Follow Booze and News on Twitch. We live stream Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you enjoyed this video, click that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you get notified when we put up new content. Cheers.